Assalamu alaikum everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a Pakistani drama, specifically Sharpasand, some of the themes and specifically some of the female characters in this drama. So there's four that I would like to talk about. There's Hafsa, Shazmeen, Iman, and Sanam. Before we do that though, here's a quick recap or a synopsis, I guess, of Sharpasand. Sharpasand is basically commentary on Pakistani community or the gossip community or the way the culture can sometimes work in a very cruel, manipulative ways. And I find this drama extremely interesting. It follows specifically a small neighborhood and a couple of families in the neighborhood, how they interact and how one person or a couple people with bad intentions manipulate the situation and shape perspectives of other members of the community. And it is so interesting, but so stressful to watch at the same time. However, it is a really good watch. It's not completed yet. You should definitely check it out if you haven't already, even if you don't watch Pakistani dramas, because it's really interesting, I think. I really like dramas or shows, things that are a little bit more thriller-esque and have a little bit more meaning to them rather than just comedy shows and stuff like that. Though they can also be extremely interesting and also have a lot of social commentary within them, because that's just how comedy works essentially. But I like things that are a little bit more intense. This show has definitely been extremely stressful to watch, to be honest, but let's get right into specifically some of the characters. If you have been watching, the most recent episode aired a couple days ago, and I believe we ended on the note that Shazmeen discusses with her ex-fiance how cruel the world is towards women and how Hafsa was going through the same thing that she was going through. However, Hafsa was a much younger, more impressionable, and not as strong in her willpower or just like in herself, and that may have been the reason why she didn't survive the antics and the manipulation and the like intensity of the community the way Shazmeen was able to still continue to thrive, because she knew the truth and she knew very clearly that Farasat uncle was being manipulative and none of the allegations against her were true. Whereas with Hafsa, I would say that some of the stuff in the beginning, it was very direct. The way Farasat uncle and her family or his family was treating her, because she had called out them rightfully. However, afterwards, the allegations that were being made against her, it was unclear. They weren't able to clear things up, mostly because they just refused to talk things through or talk about things or be more open-minded and like use a brain. And that eventually led to a lot of intense allegations and stress from the community and resulted in her ending her life. I should say I'll probably try to go a little bit more in depth because I'm just talking off my head here. I don't have any notes or anything like that. I just find this show so interesting and I did not want to wait, and I just wanted to get into it as soon as possible. So with Hafsa, the thing that is so tragic is I think she represents like the true innocence of people or women or girls that can be killed by society because of the fact that other people will just add on layers and of commentary and what they think of a situation, and it can just get to a point that it gets so out of hand that the innocent people feel like they can't control the narrative, they cannot control anything in their life and are forced to take drastic action. Obviously, the action that she took was very extreme. And I think sometimes when suicide is brought up in shows, specifically Pakistani shows, I think it's shown as this very like, oh my God, taboo topic, don't talk about it kind of a thing. However, the reality is that this is happening or this does happen. And so we should try to figure out, why is it happening? How can we help the people that are, on the verge of something like this and have a lot of mental health stress, and how can we manage it? How can we be a better community, a supportive community, and how can we be better communities in general so that we don't ostracize people and have them go through these very intense emotions on their own. I feel like Hafsa's character shows like blissful ignorance and innocence that can be turned deadly when other people are around to take and manipulate that narrative, because she was just living her life. Everything was going fine. But because other people, for example, Iman and Farasat, they didn't like what was being said about them. They didn't like that Farasat was being accused of, skimming from the top when it comes to their money that Hafsa's brother was sending her. And she was right and accurate in her allegation. However, they didn't like that. They found it so offensive. So they started to go after her reputation and slowly, gradually manipulated the entire community over a longer period of time, and did it in such a way that it seemed like their hands were clean. They didn't ever actually say anything or do anything. They just speculated and discussed things. And so that eventually led to her being ostracized from not just the community she lives in, but also including her rishtedar, who had come and visited and said that, this is ruining our reputation. We have girls in our family that need to get married off. Like, if she's this type of girl, we don't want anything to do with her. Don't tell anybody you're part of our family, etc., etc. The most frustrating thing about this whole storyline was the fact that nobody decided to use their brain and, first of all, ask what the actual issue was. It was just like, oh, you went to a gynecologist. Oh my God. Then what? My brain is not clicking here. What is the allegation here? What is the issue here? And I'm assuming it's something negative, oh, loose character hai, or something like that. But can we know that? Can someone just say it? दबे दबे अल्फाजों में कहना का मसला ये होता है कि दूसरा बंदा फिर अपनी तरफ से सोचता रहता है और फिर किसी और को अपनी तरीक़ा से समझाता है, एंड देन वो लोग और भी क्या कहते हैं और भी चीज़ें लगा लेते हैं, एंड देन बात और बड़ी हो जाती है, right? And so that's really frustrating, because it was she had some kind of health issue that doesn't speak about her character or what type of person she is, and she ended up getting so much hate and so many accusations essentially thrown at her, and that resulted in the end of her life. That is so extremely frustrating. And when it comes to this specifically, the frustrating part was that Farasat and his daughter Iman, and basically her whole family, Farasat's family, they had kind of teamed up, because the brother, the mom, everybody except for the one sister that's innocent, which I don't know, I'm not going to talk about that right now, but basically the entire family worked in different ways to help facilitate this negative image that they were trying to create of Hafsa, and they succeeded. And then when she gets to that extreme level where she has no choice or feels like she has no choice but to end her life, then they are safaya pesh kar rahe. And then the frustrating thing was Farasat uncle is like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. Oh my God, the people that made her do this, I hope they get in trouble or whatever. They have to answer for themselves or whatever. And it's you did that, bro. You did that. Oh my God, it's so frustrating. The second character, though, that I want to talk about is Shazmeen, which I think is a really great character. And Shazmeen, I think, will be the one that will ultimately play the largest role to Farasat's downfall. Shazmeen is basically knows what's up. She knows she's already gone through the smear campaign and come out strong and self-sufficient despite everyone kind of treating her differently. She's just gotten used to it. And I think the reason is because she doesn't have to rely or worry about convincing other people that she's a good person. And the reason other people had to do that was because other people, they had partners, they had family that they need to look after, they had future partners, and so they care more. Whereas Shazmeen is a widowed woman who was previously also engaged, and then the engagement fell through. She realized, why be with a person that is going to think like this of me or whatever. But Shazmeen does not have as much to lose. And while she is in a bit of a tight situation caring for her khala, so she has, I would say, less free time and less resources available to her at the moment. However, I feel like she represents the women that continue to stand against this oppression, essentially, of women within the community. And I find that she is just such, like, her potential as a character is not peaked yet, and I think it will when we see the downfall of Farasat through her. Then we have Sanam, and I think Sanam is, you would think Sanam and Shazmeen are parallels to each other. I do not think that's true. I think Sanam has a lot more to lose, and she's going to go through a lot more because Farasat is still trying to paint this idea gradually that Sanam may have been cheating on her husband while he was gone and emotional because he found out he couldn't have a child. Oh my God, this character is also so freaking annoying. Her husband is so annoying and so whatever, but we can talk about him another time. But with Sanam, I think she will assist Shazmeen once her name starts getting dragged again, when people start to think that she cheated on... Oh, 1 second. Okay. Sorry, got interrupted. Where was I? So yes, so I think Sanam will be the next person, the next victim, and the next focus of the family to smear, and she won't take it lying down. She's going to collect her evidence and use Shazmeen's support to help bring down and expose Farasat and his family. And I think that'll be how the show kind of ends. That, and also Farasat is probably going to have some health conditions and health issues, which he's going to use as a way to gain pity from the community when things are going south for him. But I cannot wait for his downfall because it is much needed given the trauma that he has caused others in the community. The last character I want to talk about is Iman. And Iman, I think, and along with her mom actually, but let's just focus specifically on Iman. I think Iman represents, it's so funny. Iman represents the average woman that perpetuates, instigates, and causes problems within the community that specifically reflect poorly on the women. So when she wasn't able to get her man, she targeted Hafsa. She just assumed Hafsa was going to be the reason, and like she was trying to piece things together, but really her poor behavior is what caused her to lose her fiance or like secret boyfriend or whatever. And the fact that Hafsa's behavior was good and she was a good person overall is what resulted in her getting the rishta from the guy. So when I think about these characters, I feel like these 4 characters represent different aspects of society, specifically like Pakistani society. We have the victim, who you could quote unquote say they let themselves become a victim, or it's like because of their nature, they are susceptible to the vultures in society. Shazmeen would represent the person that takes a stand and supposedly has less to lose and is able to therefore take a stand. These people are usually outcasted in society in the same way she is in the neighborhood, and it's because, well, oh, she's widowed, she's divorced, she's living on her own, she's like educated enough to work for herself, and she goes out and in the work community where men are. So what kind of a woman she is she? She represents that trope in society. Sanam represents a similar character as Shazmeen, but I think she represents someone that does not give up. She is going to keep trying to make her relationship work, for example, even though it's quite clear that he is not a good person, but it doesn't make sense because they still love each other. It's just a little bit difficult, but it's kind of like the people that stay but try to do right by themselves and by others. And then we have Iman that represents kind of like the bad side of society, where they will do whatever they can, whenever they can to get what they want, and without regard for other people's well-being, what effect it has on other people. Because you can see at the end of one of the previous episodes, she's just annoyed that Hafsa would try to gain attention by pulling a stunt or move like this when she was obviously going through a lot for her to make that decision. But yes, that is my opinion on those characters. I would have loved to sit down and go through specific examples, but I think these characters represent more than just what they are in the show. I think they are a reflection of Pakistani society and some of the cruelties that people have to face in Pakistani society. I think it's a really interesting show. Let me know if you guys are watching in the comments down below. What are your thoughts? Do you think any of the other female characters are more important, more interesting? What are your thoughts? I will look forward to them, and I'll see you guys in the next video. If you guys want me to go in a little bit more detail about these characters, let me know. I'm also watching Kafil. I finally caught up, and it's just such a stressful show to watch. There's been a lot of great shows recently, but some of these shows are really intense, really negative, but they're really good too. And I think they're like realistic shows, or like are like they basically are kya kehte hain? I feel like they're really telling a story that you can learn from, compared to some of these other shows that are just like, in my opinion, like kind of paindu. I'm like, what is this? Maybe I'm just not a part of this world at all. Like Meri Zindagi Hai Tu. Like I watched a few episodes of that. I was like, guys, this is so dumb. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. What are you guys watching? Do you like any of the other female characters? Do you think other female characters are more important in the show Sharpasand? What do you think of Pakistani society? Lots of different questions. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.